I now bow my head to the right and bow to the left in keeping with our own tradition. I will now, without further ado, request delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer and meditation. Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to take this opportunity to remind you of the following. That the virtual sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that the place of the sitting is deemed to be Cape Town, where the seat of the National Council of Provinces is, that delegates in the virtual sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that for the purpose of the quorum, all delegates who are logged onto the virtual platform shall be considered the present. That delegates must switch on their videos if they want to speak. That delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted. That the interpretation facility is active. That permanent delegates, members of the executive, special delegates, and the SALGA representatives are requested to ensure that the interpretation facility on their gadgets are properly activated to facilitate access to the interpretation services. That any delegate who wishes to speak must use the raise your hand function. And of course, that by now, almost all members are familiar with the icon and its use. Honorable delegates, I've also been informed that there will be no notice of motions or motions without notice. So before we proceed, I would like to welcome all MECs, permanent delegates, all special delegates, and the SALGA representatives to the House. Honorable delegates, will now proceed to the order of the day. Consideration of report of Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Water, Sanitation, and Human Settlements. Announcement, tablings, and committee reports, the 3rd October 2022, page 24. Notice of intervention issued in terms of section 1391C of the Constitution, 1996, in the local municipality, Northwest Province, dated 3rd October 2022. I now call on Honorable T.S.C. Dodovo, Chairman of the Select Committee on Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs, Water, Sanitation, and Human Settlements, to present the committee report. Honorable Dodovo.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson of the NCOP, Honorable Amos Masondo, all permanent and special delegates who are present in this session, all members of Parliament. Allow me this morning to present a report of the committee in terms of the intervention of 1391C of the Constitution in the Ditsobotla Local Municipality. Honorable Chairperson and members of the House, our municipalities, and some of them in this case in the post-2021 local government elections, are again facing historical, continuous, and unacceptable challenges of poor service delivery, political instability, financial mismanagement, weak municipal performance management, dysfunctional councils, poor intergovernmental support and oversight, slow implementation of recommendations of Section 106, forensic investigations, corruption, factionalism, political interference, and manipulation in administration, lack of administrative professionalism, lack of servant and ethical leadership, including unprincipled politics and unholy political marriages of local coalition government across the country. Chairperson, last month in September 2022, the NCOP committee received a notice of intervention after it was submitted by the chair of the NCOP in terms of Section 139(1)(c) of the Constitution in the Ditsobotla Local Municipality for consideration and reporting. The referral by the chairperson of the NCOP of the notice in terms of Section 139(1)(c) in the Ditsobotla Local Municipality has been in line with the constitutional provision that requires the collective in this house to pronounce within 14 days whether to approve or disapprove the dissolution of the dysfunctional and criminally captured local municipality. Honorable Chairperson, subsequent to the tabling by the Northwest MEC of COCTA of the notice of intervention in terms of Section 139(1)(c) of the Constitution and the NCOP referral of the notice of intervention, a multi-party delegation of the Select Committee, guided by the constitutional requirement of public participation in the process of Parliament generally, and specifically in the NCOP, consulted and engaged on the 29th of September 2022 with the internal and external stakeholders of the Ditsobotla Local Municipality. Honorable members of the House, our main objective of conducting public participation was to consult, engage, and solicit the views and opinions of the stakeholders on constitutional, procedural, substantive, and extraordinary circumstantial matters relating to the dissolution of the Ditsobotla Local Municipality. In line with our public participation objective, we as the collective of the Select Committee engaged with the MEC of COCTA and MEC of Finance, representatives of political parties in the municipality, SALGA, SAMU, external stakeholders such as the school governing bodies, Women Forum, Business Chamber, Community Policing Forum, the Dutch Reformed Church, SANCO, the Trade and Wholesale Association, Car Wash and Shine, as well as the Medical Practitioners Association. In the spirit of openness, what became apparent during the process of consultation with the stakeholders were the opinions supporting, not supporting the dissolution, and the opinions on whether the decision of the NCOP that it will take the interest of the community at heart and ensure that service delivery, good governance, and fighting corruption was going to happen. Honorable members of the House, as the collective of the Select Committee, we have observed and noted during the engagement with stakeholders a phenomenon within the Ditsobotla Local Municipality that could be characterized as a class municipal capturing project of criminals, mafias, gangsters, and unethical leaders and senior officials with committed interest of misappropriating public resources allocated for the provision of basic services such as water, electricity, roads, sanitation, and the safety of the local community. The criminal phenomenon in our people's municipality, like Ditsobotla, is against the values committed by our forefathers in 1955 when they adopted the Freedom Charter and said the people shall govern. Honorable Chairperson, we have, as members of the committee, noted that the MEC of Kokta has complied with the constitutional requirement of notification and the minutes of Kokta of the approval of the notice of dissolution of the Ditsobotla Local Municipality in terms of Section 1391C of the Constitution. On substantive matters, we have, however, noted with great concern the triggers leading to the dissolution of municipality, which include poor performance, poor service delivery, political infighting, corruption, lack of consequence management, existence of criminal elements within the municipality, non-compliance with legislation and supply chain management policy, leadership squabbles between the offices of the mayor and the speaker, municipal council failure to carry out its executive and other legislative mandates as stipulated in the Constitution, especially 150 of the Constitution. Honorable members of the House, as members of the Select Committee, we are of the opinion that the substantive matters raised by the internal and external stakeholders generally require the NCOP to approve a resolution that will ensure municipal good governance, sound financial management, organizational development, effective public participation and service delivery in the Ditsobotla Local Municipality in accordance to the Constitution and the existing legislation. While noting the objection of members of the Democratic Alliance in terms of the decision, the recommendation who are serving in our Select Committee, having considered the constitutional, procedural, and substantive, as well as extra circumstantial matters relating to the dissolution, there was unanimous decision during the adoption of our report to recommend to this House the following: that the NCOP approves the invocation of Section 1391C of the Constitution in the Ditsobotla Local Municipality, that the administrator appointed in terms of Section 1391C of the Constitution must also conduct a skills audit to ascertain the kind of skills available within the local municipality and the areas needing augmentation, that the Select Committee should, within a month, call the MEC of the Department of Kokta and the MEC of Finance to explain their Section 1395 interventions in all municipalities in the Northwest, calling law enforcement agencies such as the Special Investigating Unit to investigate all allegations of corruption and appointment of unqualified staff within the Ditsobotla Local Municipality. In compliance with the conditions of ministerial approval of the intervention in terms of Section 1391C, the MEC of Kokta, through the administrator and the municipal manager, should liaise with the Independent Electoral Commission, the IEC, to alert it on the dissolution of the Ditsobotla Local Municipality. Honorable members of the House, the Select Committee has noted with great concern that the MEC of the Northwest Department of Kokta has taken an unprocedural step to appoint the administrator for the municipality before the committee has deliberated, adopted, and even tabled this report to this House this morning for approval or disapproval of the dissolution. The steps taken by the MEC to appoint the administrator before the decision of the NCOP are not procedural and thus invalid, and undermines the legal process and perpetuate the unfounded perception that the NCOP process is merely a rubber stamp process. As a result, the Select Committee has resolved to invite the MEC within a month to appear before the Select Committee itself to give clear reasons for her actions. Honorable members of the House, to deliver quality services to the people will require the successful implementation of recommendation of public protector municipal audit outcomes, investigation of forensic investigations conducted in terms of Section 106 of the Municipal Systems Act, and more importantly, a local government cadre of a special type. This must be skilled and competent cadres capable of delivering. It must be cadres who are servants of the people and who work selflessly and diligently for the cause of the people. We really need administrative cadres who would account to the people at all material times, while at the same time, they would be committed to rooting out corruption and ensuring good governance. The professionalization of local government administration had to become more critical in what they are doing in order to stabilize the municipality and make it functional. Local government should be everybody's business, including members of this house, irrespective of their political and ideological. And in that sense, I wish to present this report before the house for consideration and adoption. I thank you very much, Honorable Chair of the session.
Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, before we proceed to voting, I shall now allow provinces the opportunity to make their iterations of vote in terms of Rule 86, if they so wish. Just to remind members, a maximum of 3 minutes is allowed per iteration. So we'll then proceed. Any member wishing to make a iteration?
There's a hand, Chair.
Just a minute there. Yes, there's Leku as the first person to make a declaration. Honorable Leku, please proceed.
Good morning, Honorable Chair, Honorable members, and special delegates. Honorable Chair, again, we missed the elephant in the room. For more than 20 years, we acknowledge that constitutional Section 139 interventions do not restore sound financial management or improve on the absence of delivery of services. On the 26th of October 2021, Minister Enoch Godongwana wrote to the Premier of the Northwest about intervention to address municipalities in crisis. Ditsobotla is unfortunately one of the municipalities mentioned in the letter, recommending the right mode of intervention. As a result, on the 24th of November 2021, the Northwest government invoked Section 139, subsection 5A and C. Due to incompetence, the Northwest government failed to submit a written notice of intervention as per Section 139, subsection 6B, rendering it unconstitutional. We as the community also failed to call the Northwest government to deal with unconstitutionality of the intervention when it was referred to us as a committee in March 2022. The only interaction we had about Ditsobotla was when the Northwest provincial government wanted to invoke Section 139 1C. What is of concern is that provinces continue to invoke Section 139, subsection 1, when there is already persistent financial problems and crises in a municipality. When these matters were raised during our deliberation, the chairperson was unfortunately annoyed. To evoke Section 139, subsection 1C, intervention in Ditsobotla will only be a political punitive action by the ANC to discipline factionalism amongst their councillors, causing political instability by disruptive and destructive behavior. Furthermore, Chair, Ditsobotla had a total of 7 failed Section 139 intervention, but regressed to a point where Ditsobotla Local Municipality, under ANC governance, visibly destroyed the Ditsobotla economy, causing lives and livelihoods in Ditsobotla to be challenged. The question we need to ask is, Chair, how was this regression and collapse of Ditsobotla allowed by the Northwest provincial government, ignoring the red flags of mismanagement and maladministration? Why did the Northwest provincial government not take steps to address and resolve unaccountability with stringent consequence management measures? The province clearly failed to render support as per Section 154 of the Constitution.
As you conclude, Honorable
We
Sleko,
cannot tolerate systemic fraud, corruption, and looting of municipalities anymore by dissolving councils, while accounting officers, the top management, and middle management remains untouchable. The Democratic Alliance votes against this report because dissolving the council will not solve Ditsobotla, while governance is captured by a fraudulent and corrupt ANC administration. I so move. Thank you, Chair.
thank you very much, Honorable Sleko. Any other province wishing to make a declaration? No, none. We'll therefore proceed. We shall now proceed to the voting on the question, and the question is that the report be adopted. I now call upon the provinces to cast their votes, and when called upon to do so, heads of delegation must indicate whether they vote in favor, against, or abstain. We shall do so in alphabetical order. We'll start with the Eastern Cape. Eastern Cape.
Eastern Cape, I support, I report the Chair.
Well, thank you very much, Honorable Ndongeni. The Free State.
Free State votes in favor of the report, Chair.
Free State votes in favor of the report. Gauteng.
Gauteng in support, Chairperson.
Gauteng in support. Thank you very much. KwaZulu-Natal.
IKwaZulu Natal iyaseka sihlalo i-report.
Limpopo.
Limpopo support the report, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, Honorable Mamarkhana. Limpopo support the report. Mpumalanga.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Mpumalanga votes in favor. Thank you very much. Northern Cape.
Northern Cape support, Honorable Chairperson.
Mpumalanga vote in favor, Honorable Chairperson.
Northern Cape votes in favor. Northwest.
Northwest support report, Honorable Chair.
Northwest support the report. Western Cape.
Chair, Western Cape will not be a rubber stamp and vote against this report. Thank you very much.
Northern Cape is voting against the report. Voting is now closed. And the results are as follows. 8 provinces voted in favor, 1 against. I therefore declare the report adopted in accordance with Section 65 of the Constitution. So at this point, honorable members and delegates, at this point concludes the business of the day. And I wish to take the opportunity to thank all members of the Executive Councils, the MECs, permanent delegates, all special delegates, and the Salga representatives for availing themselves for this sitting. So once more, thank you very much. The House is now adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair.
Recording
Thank you,
stopped.
Chairperson.
Chairperson.
Thank you very much.